I reached out to all of you guys to ask you to write me your best questions on the GRASPOR muscle oxygen device, because I want to make this video where I try and address those questions and give you my best answers. So I decided to pick out questions that I find the most relevant and that a lot of you brought up. The first of which is, how accurate is it compared to a normal VO2 bike test? It is incredibly accurate. We've done a lot of testing. I've been doing my tests, personal tests as well, where I compared the different results, and my conclusion, the general conclusion, is actually that it's more accurate. The reason for this is that you can do it in the specific environment. Previously, I've been taking my heart rate zones, my wattage zones, my intensity zones from the bike or from running onto my skates, which obviously there's a massive difference between two different sports, so you can't fully compare the two. With the GRASPOR though, I can do them in each different sport, and I can also do it in the right surroundings, and I can do them very often, so my zones, my intensity will constantly be correct and gonna be updated. So the second question that I got is how to do a threshold test on inlines. Great question. Obviously, inline skating and ice skating are my main sports, so of course this is where I care the most about the intensity and the right zones. It works a little differently than on a bike, because on a bike you will have the wattage that you will just follow throughout a test, whereas on inlines I personally use speed as a parameter, but you can also just use lap times if that's what you prefer. So the way the test goes is that you go through different steps, each of 4 minutes, and they're gradually increasing until you have reached your threshold. And then GRASPOR after that, within 24 hours, will be able to give you a specific answer on what your zones are, and also your points to improve and your profile as an athlete. So the way I do it on inlines is that I set out at a specific pace, say 28 kilometers per hour, and I use that as my first step. Even though in the GRASPOR application it's going to give you the wattage, well, I know for myself that then each step, gradually it increases by 30 watts. I know for me, on inlines, that'll be 2 kilometers per hour. So my first step would be, per se, 28 kilometers per hour, moving on to 30, then moving on to 32. And then once I get the results, I can compare those with the heart rates I had at each step, as well as the kilometers per hour. And then I know what intensity and what speed I would have to follow in my next workouts. Looking at the third question here. Can everybody use it no matter what your age or level of fitness is? Yes, the answer is yes. Regardless of your age and fitness level, you will not just be able to use the GRASPOR, but you will be able to benefit from it. I would even say that the less of a professional athlete you are, the more there is to gain. Talking from my own experience, I've been able to use GRASPOR quite well and improve a lot, even though I have a massive support staff behind me and I'm able to do testing at the House of Sports with experts helping me. If that's not the case for you, well then GRASPOR is your expert right here. Simple sleeve to put on, and you have an application guiding you, well, everything you would need to know in order to get more out of your time. Regarding the age, there's no limitations. It's really just for any athlete out there that either wants to get more out of the time they spent doing their sport. Especially for most people watching this, you probably have a job, and that also means you're limited when it comes to time. Unlike me, all I do is train. Well, you probably want to make sure that the time you do spend on your bike or running or skating, that you use it effectively or efficiently. And with the GRASPOR device, you just know where to be to get the most out of the hours you put in. And ultimately, you also have these tests that you can now do for free, basically, once you purchase the GRASPOR device. So you have those at your disposal, and you can do them as often as you want. So just lots of ways to improve. And no, you don't have to be an elite athlete or of a certain age to do this and to benefit from it. The final question that you guys asked that I will now try and answer is, will I be able to put this data in training peaks or intervals? Cool thing about GRASPOR is that it's compatible with basically all Garmin devices. I use it with my watch here as I'm skating or as I'm running, and then I use it with my bike computer on the bike, of course. You can also see it and analyze it directly in the GRASPOR application, and you can also check it out on intervals, where you can compare the different graphs with your heart rate, your wattage, and of course your muscle oxygen zones. So it's not just during the workout that you can see the intensity, it's also afterwards that you can use it on these platforms to make sure you've done your job, and also just to track your progress. Are you overtrained? Are you undertrained? And adjust it accordingly. So GRASPOR is a great thing. I appreciate all these questions and it's been fun answering them. You can always DM me or comment on this if you have more questions, and I will try and answer to my best abilities. I'll reach out to the guys at GRASPOR because they really know what they're doing. Thanks a lot for watching.